We're back. It's the Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. Fisher, Desopoulos, Snacks, Kreider, Gents, Paul Chryst, former head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, is joining as an offensive analyst on Coach Sark's staff. Honestly, very excited. It is very exciting. I know it's wow, but a very exciting news for me, honestly, because last time we had a guy, a good head coach, join as an analyst, our defense flipped around pretty nicely. When Chryst was able to do it, Wisconsin, the way they were able to run the ball under him. And if you go back to, I believe, his Oregon State days when he was there, he had Steven Jackson, who was awesome. He really is a good mind to get into the mix. Shard Choice, again, is our running backs coach. Sark is going to put a premium, I'd imagine, on Quinn and the receivers in the pass game, especially with Bijan and Roshan both gone, and the running back position going from being a stalwart to a bit more of a question mark with the new said B, with Brooks, a guy we really like, but he didn't show out the way we wanted him in the Washington game. But I think this is a really exciting move, and I'm hoping he could come in and help the run game a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, how it helps our offense. I mean, already had a really good offense, but you can't have enough firepower when it comes to guys on the staff that know what they're doing and have played at, high levels and have been at big programs, IG Wisconsin. So they've always had a great run game there, and I'm hoping to, see what they can do for our running back room now. Big month of recruiting for the Longhorns. A lot of big visits. A lot of big, 5-star, 4-star recruiting visits in the month of June. We already had some this past weekend. We've got more coming up this weekend. And I think there's a really massive weekend, I think like the 24th of June or something like that, where there's like a total of 20 something 4- and 5-star recruits that are coming. So this is the big time of the recruiting season when, guys are starting to make up their mind where they're wanting to play for college ball and hopefully commit and stay committed rather than commit now and then decommit a little bit later. But there's a lot of guys. Big boy Reiner Swanson, he was a tight end who visited last weekend. Apparently, he's raving about the visit that he had. I think he's listed at like 6'5" or something as a tight end.
Jesus.
Yeah, big chungus. We've got Colin Simmons, 5-star edge rusher. That's got a big visit coming up with us out of Duncanville. He's probably the top target for Texas this offseason. You gotta take control of the guys that are in state, especially the
Absolutely.
5-stars. So yeah, it's gonna be fun month of recruiting for us.
We also brought in a 5-star recruit, 4-star KJ Lacey, not for this upcoming cycle, but for the following cycle, from Bama. He a pocket passer, quarterback. So they were raving about him. They were calling him the next Bryce Young type. So you never know if that's true, but another really exciting moment in the recruiting cycle for Texas football. And if we could go out and get it, I'm glad you brought up Colin Simmons, the top recruit in Texas. If we could go out and get a guy like Colin Simmons on the defensive side of the football, that's going to be a massive statement and another massive turning point for Texas.
And another thing out of the transfer portal, guys that are already in the program, and I know we don't care so much about what stars you are sometimes when you're already on the field with us and you're on our roster. But AD Mitchell and Denver Harris both transferred over to Texas, and they are both elevated to 5-star status now.
Hey.
Wow.
Cinco estrellas. Love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love to see that. That's AD Mitchell's, again, going to be a really big piece of our team going forward. A lot of exciting stuff in recruiting.
I'm sorry.
Never stops.
Denver Harris is with LSU. Transferred from A&M to LSU. But
yeah,
yes,
but he's from Texas.
Yep.
From Texas, yes, Texas. At least he's not an A&M anymore. But he went to the other supposed DBU. Speaking of us being DBU, RBU, there's so many. We've been so many U's in the past. This is I'm off the cuff. Was thinking about this in my personal toilet time. A fun game we could play as a
nice.
Yep, I got you. As a game we could play as a crew. Yeah, nice, Nick. Nice back to you, dude. You guys have 3 options. Well, first of all, sorry, before you get to the game, What's the one game if you could send a recruit to this year you want to send them to? No, I'll pull up our schedule.
Like what game that they can come to? Home
Yeah.
or home game, you mean?
Home game.
And the OU week is unmatched.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I would not. You don't want to send a kid to. You don't want to send a kid to Bama. Obviously, these two games are kind of shot. I mean, K-State.
I mean, I'd say the Oklahoma game. That's always just a great atmosphere.
Yeah,
I think that's a good one. We don't have a ton of amazing home games.
kind of pedestrian home game slate.
Maybe maybe BYU.
I like the BYU game. I like Tech, K-State, and BYU. Those are the three games that I would kind of lock in for recruits. K-State, that one could kind of hold the future of the Big 12 championship. There could be a lot of pressure on both teams in that game, depending on how the kind of first half of the season goes.
Yeah, and I think if we're looking at just atmosphere, and like a good weekend to come, the BYU weekend, because that's Halloween weekend. So, kids can go off and go to all the parties and have a good time. The Tech weekend, I think, is that Thanksgiving Day or is it the day after Thanksgiving? That might be a tough one.
There. Yeah. It's like the day before. That is a tough one to go to. But hey, football and turkey. Who doesn't, like a little bit of that? But I think the BYU
spend some time with your new fam.
I think I like the BYU Halloween vibe could be a lot of fun if you're a recruit. And we've discussed in the past like having recruits come aboard, and go to the parties that we've been at, and that is like they're more than just football players. They're college kids too, and they're going to be there. It's not college basketball, so they'll be there for a couple of years, and you kind of want to be in a position where you can go somewhere where you're going to have a good time. Like that's just college.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think
it's something that's about the schedule really quickly that I'm already excited about is that they've announced the game time for the first 3 games, and our Bama game is a night game. Something that we're not used to seeing, especially being on the West Coast when we have to wake up crack of dawn, 9 a.m. to watch our Horns play. I think it's great that the primetime game is the night slot. So it's going to be 4 p.m. our time, but it's going to be 3 or 7 p.m. Bama time.
Nice, love that.
A late night in Tuscaloosa, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be loud. It's going to be loud, and it's. I mean, that is like first taste of SEC. Like, I mean, I know we've had it before in the past a multitude of times, but real first taste of the SEC with us now going there. Like, yeah, everyone's got a plan, punch in the mouth.
We'll obviously get to it when we get closer to that game and there's more chatter about it. But any Longhorns that have that penciled in to travel there for on their own personal schedule, it's gonna be a long day. So you got to pace yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, an absolute pace. All right, I want to go back to the schedule. I don't know how this game's going to work. We'll try it. You can't repeat players, okay? And you each only get 3. But you could bring back one player, and postseason doesn't count. You can't be like, all right, I'll bring him back. Just regular season. One player, and you're going to go back and forth. One player all time to bring back for one game. So an example being, just like an example being, let's say I wanted to, where's the schedule at? I would bring back a Rockpo for the TCU game.
Okay.
Nick, you could go first.
It's very interesting.
I just was thinking about it. I'm like, all right, with one player you could bring back one player of all time.
Okay. All right, shot. For the Bama game, I want to bring back Vince Young because I want to give us the best shot to beat that team, and doesn't matter how far we'd be down in that game, Vince Young would be the type of guy that can will us back.
Cool. All right, off the table toss. Can't use VY, but you have a back-to-back.
Okay. Well, next best option for me, at least, I'm going to use Colt in the Bama game.
Revenge.
Healthy Colt,
of course. I would love to use in the BYU game This is a little bit of a revenge game here. Not at the position, but I still am haunted by that Taysom Hill performance, and I would love to bring Bijan back and have him run for 250 plus yards against the BYU Cougs.
Okay, Colt and Bijan off the table. Nikolai.
Give me Ricky Williams for the OU game. Running backs usually have a good time in that game, and Ricky, let's be honest, is the greatest Texas running back of all time, in my opinion. He's number one, and he would just have a field day against that Oklahoma defense that has been hurting for a little bit. Let's make another statement win and beat them 59-0.
Instead of eat my Venables, shove it down his throat with little Ricky. All right, give me one more, Nick.
One more. All right. I feel bad not going on the defensive side of the ball. So let me have a little think-see here. I like your Arakpo. You know what? Give me Earl Thomas.
Ooh.
Against
Crazy Earl.
Yeah, Crazy Earl against Texas Tech. Because you know that game's always a shootout. They always sling the rock. And yeah, I would love to see Earl ball hawk.
Nice. It's a good outside the box pick. Toss, give me one.
Okay, this is my last one, right?
That's your last one, dude.
September 23rd. I would be remiss if I didn't mention our co-host, Quan Cosby. Bring back Quan Cosby against the Baylor Bears at home in Waco. The final send-off before we head to the SEC. He puts up 5 touchdowns in the air against them. Q gives a nice little send-off to Waco, Texas, and then we head to the SEC.
The homecoming.
It's a homecoming. Great send-off to the game. I love the Earl Thomas pick. The Texas Tech game is always just like a shady shootout. And like,
do you want one, Josh? You could have one.
Yeah. Golly, there's so many options. I would like to go maybe defense. I could go. I'm like in between. Do I want to go Jammer? I like the Tech game. I could go Quentin Jammer back for that game. I go back Quentin Jammer for the Houston game, but I probably am going to go just to anchor the defense against Kansas State and talk about that maybe being the pivotal game. I think it's a good call for the Big 12 championship and bring back a guy we've had on the show, one of the best defensive players in Texas history, Derek Johnson. Yeah.
Nice.
I think that's what I would go with. Cool. I don't know. Yeah, not bad. I was having the PTT and I was like, you know what? This is like a really weird random thought, but let's
really low stakes game. I love
when we play Texas A&M next season. Give me Justin Tucker, baby.
Ooh,
yeah, that's a great one.
Wow.
I was thinking about Tuck and where he
really
would end up.
Give me, you know what? Give me Michael Dixon in the Bama game.
Why? Because you want to punt a bunch?
I want field position, baby. I want to own the field position. I want to rock.
You won't need to punt if you have Vince Young.
It's true. I mean, no, and it's no shake against Quinn, but like if this team had, if any team had VY, it would just be. Do you think like any of the Charlie Strong teams, if they had VY, they would have been title contenders?
There were some, no, not title contenders. I think there was. It's tough because I think, Chuck was trying to restructure the team culture, and there were so many guys that were coming in and out of transferring, guys were getting kicked off the roster. It was a big shift, going from the Mac Brown era to the Charlie Strong era. They had talented players. There's guys that are still in the NFL that were on that roster. Quandre Diggs, Malcolm Brown, both Malcolm Browns, Jordan Hicks. It was a really talented roster. Jonathan Gray was a 5-star running back coming out of high school. There was a lot of good receivers. Marcus Johnson's still in the league, and he was on that roster. Jackson Shipley, John Harris. Jeff Swaim. I can keep going on and on. There's guys that are still in the league right now. But yeah, it's tough to say because Tyrone was athletic. I don't necessarily know that he was a good quarterback. We could have switched him over to tight end earlier. Same thing with Gerard, and if VY was a consistent quarterback there, because I think in Chuck's era, I believe we had Tyrone, Shane Buechele, Gerard. I think David Ash might have played a game or so. Can't 100% remember, but
David Ash did a small ditty when we were there. That's for damn sure.
yeah. But regardless, I think it's tough to say. I don't think that there'd be a losing season there. I think we'd be in bowl games every single season.
I just want to. I was looking at my phone. I was looking at just Lamar Jackson's college career, and
with Chuck?
obviously, well, more so on the idea that it was the rest of Lamar's team that disallowed them to be competing for a national championship every single season. And so I would have said that our Texas Longhorns were a more talented roster across the board, if you kind of plop Vince onto those teams. But we had a tougher schedule than Louisville did. And I just bring that all up to say, like, it's not just the QB, right? It's a team game, and you need to be good on both sides of the ball. And I just don't know if we would have had enough firepower to get through the Big 12 and to the playoff.
I agree with both y'all. I think that we would have made bowl games and save Charlie's job. Not to autocorrect you, Toss, but he had Bridgewater. If you're going the Chuck Strong route.
I really wasn't.
Okay.
My comp was solely Lamar Jackson.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Because of the skill level with the rest of the team around him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And how far, I mean, you could look at like Johnny Manziel too, like I could keep naming these guys that didn't have the same excellence and team awards that guys like Tebow did, or Joe Burrow, or Cam, or Jameis Winston.
I got a fun question for you guys.
Shoot.
Who's one player that did not go to Texas, that wanted to come to Texas, or that Texas was recruiting that we missed out on, that you wish you would have seen in Burnt Orange?
Jameis.
Toss?
From the state of Texas?
I mean, like someone that like was on our radar that, like, you heard stories about Manziel and RG3. Like those are the guys that come to mind for me.
AP.
Adrian Peterson's another one. Came out of Houston.
Peterson was who I was thinking of, and especially because he ends up, playing for our rival. That just salt in the wound right there.
Yeah. Good defense, good offense.
And imagine if we had him with the other running backs that have come through our program. Even more revered as RBU.
Who was our guy? Was it Jamal Charles when he was there?
It became Jamal Charles is after him. It was Sed B. Because Sed B was that's why I think I remember the story being like he was going to go there, but Sed B was coming back for his senior year. And like AP was like, all right, if I'm not the starter, I'm not the starter.
Yeah.
Which, like, I get it. Like, you're Adrian Peterson. So like kind of
it worked out for him.
Yeah, it didn't work out badly for Adrian Peterson. You don't like the Jameis pick?
I mean, he won a Heisman, won a national championship. Yeah, it's hard not to say. But I didn't necessarily know that he was, one of those guys like Manziel or RG3 that, didn't get offered the way that they should have. Because for RG3, they wanted him to be a defensive back. He didn't want that. And for Johnny, I think the same thing. I don't think they want to be a quarterback as well. And Johnny grew up a Longhorn fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, it's such a massive state. There's so many guys. Like I cheated a little bit. I just pulled it up, but like Stafford from Dallas, Drew Brees from Austin,
Andrew Luck
from Houston. Like so many guys are from Texas, from the state of Texas. I mean, Von Miller, LaDainian Tomlinson, RLT.
Yeah.
Like ended up going to TCU, obviously. Mahomes, right? White House, Texas. Like, why'd you go all the way to Lubbock? Why didn't you just come to Austin?
You know what? Thinking back on it, Mahomes would be amazing, because that was the time. That was Chuck Strong's era. Yeah. Baker's well, but Baker got slept on by every team. He had to walk on to Tech, and then went over to OU.
But he was in our backyard though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm thinking like Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, you have one of those guys that right in our backyard, Lake Travis.
We would have ruined those guys.
Probably.
I hate to say. Oh, I pulled up an article on Jameis because it was when Jimbo. It came up when Jimbo was being talked about it coming here to us, and Jameis was like, "We quote."
Thank God we avoided that.
No. Jameis was like, "quote We got to get Texas on the phone. They're not calling me. I don't get why they're like." He wanted Texas to recruit him, and I guess Mac Brown never did.
Here's another a skill position guy. We named a lot of quarterbacks. Des Bryant. He's from Galveston.
Yeah.
And he was dominant in college. And the fact that he ended up not Dallas. I mean, he obviously ended up a Dallas Cowboy, but an Oklahoma State Cowboy. Bit of a bummer if he could have been a Longhorn.
Like OK State, like sneaky, not wide receiver but like wide receiver Jugo. Like,
yeah, they had Tyreek Hill for a little bit.
Yeah, they had James
Justin Blackman. He won the Biletnikoff.
But Washington won it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had Tylan Wallace.
Yep.
Who was really nice for them. They've had some ballers over at Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Decent running backs too.
Kendall Hunter.
They might be the most underrated college. Yeah.
Justice Hill, right?
Yeah. They might be
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they might be the most underrated college football team. Like they're
we don't play them this season either.
Honestly, thank God.
They've always been a kryptonite to us.
They've just been a thorn in our ass. Like they are a pain in the neck. They're so good offensively every year. Like they just put up points after points and like they make you pay.
Where did Spencer Sanders end up again?
Ole Miss.
Hey, they're gonna be pesky this season.
Ole Miss, yeah. It's gonna be a fun one. I think we're gonna see some surprises. I think to me there's a lot of, and this is not me being a fan of the team, but ultimately all eyes are going to be on the game between Michigan versus Ohio State. I think that's going to be very telling of who could get it done.
Gut check. Who's your national championship right now? 2 teams. I would personally say Clemson.
Ooh, I was like thinking on them.
I think Clemson is look, they've figured out their quarterback situation. Klubnik is dope. They had a disappointing season, but I wouldn't count them down for too long. And then after that, it's hard not to say Georgia, but I think I'm going to go with Georgia.
What are you, Toss?
I like the Clemson pick. It'll be interesting to see if Michigan can finally figure it out this season. I know your second team stands in the way, Josh, but look, they've been knocking on the door for 2 years now, back-to-back playoff appearances. I think that USC is sneaky, of course.
Defense is just not good enough.
No, but it should be better than it was last year. And one more year with Caleb, just getting more familiar with that system and getting better every single year because he's just that talented. I don't with Georgia's quarterback questions, like Stetson was really important to them winning last year. I don't know if they're the best team in the SEC, I think LSU has an incredible roster and they're really dangerous and their QB is legit.
Yeah, I'm not picking LSU because Blake Ruffino could go to hell, but LSU, yes, but no. Like, I think we're looking at a shared gold college football championship here between the maize and gold and the purple and gold. Okay.
I'm also gonna throw a wild sneaky team in there.
Wait. Sorry.
Florida State.
Okay. I was going to have you guess, because I was about to throw a sneaky team and I wanted to see if it was the same one, but it's not.
Who's yours?
I think we're going to be in a position where I think it's going to be like the NBA finals. We're we're going to get Lakers Celtics. Like everyone's hyped. We're going to get Texas USC. We're going to get that kind of playoff. but we're going to end up getting Michigan versus Tennessee.
That'd be cool. Wouldn't mind that.
I think Tennessee has Georgia at home. I think they go into Bama, get it done this year. I think Joe Milton takes college football by storm a little bit. I'm buying him.
Love it.
Since 2010, how many 10-win seasons do you think Mike Gundy and the Oklahoma State Cowboys have?
Since 2010?
Yeah.
11.
11?
5.
10-win seasons?
11 is a lot. I mean, let me see how many total years that is.
It's 11 seasons.
No, it's 13.
No, I know.
They have 7.
Wow. It's 4
Pretty
off.
impressive. Yeah, that was a high number, though. But think about how many times you know them to have won the Big 12.
Right.
So it's just pretty impressive what
7's
Gundy's been able to do. Yeah, it really is.
More for sure more than us.
We've had like one.
We've had like maybe one, yeah.
I mean, he's done a really impressive job there. Yeah.
It's a new decade, though.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day.
And he only has one in the new decade where they won 12 games. But forget about that one.
Yeah,
they only won 7. They only won 7.
The decade starts now. So
yeah,
decade starts.
Someone
now.
just needs to go and snip the mullet. He loses power. Won't be a coach anymore.
Samson-esque. All right, guys. Good stuff. Fun stuff. Horns up. We'll see you guys. See you guys next time. Welcome.